Barlow, Match Not Lose, your source for all things Everton. I'm Jay Panton. I'm here today to talk about the news that's just come out that Goodison Park will now be the permanent home of Everton women. Really interesting news. Obviously, we kind of got wind of this a couple of months ago, suggested that this may happen. People have obviously been discussing it in terms of what they think. Are people happy with that? Are they maybe thinking that they wanted this to be the end? Are people pleased? There's lots of debate and opinion, and there's no right or wrong answer. It all kind of depends on your viewpoint. But as I say, I got the statement up here, which is saying that Everton are proud to announce Goodison Park will become the permanent home of Everton women, transforming English football's first purpose-built ground to the most iconic venue in the Barclays Women's Super League. So yeah, it's really interesting because I think the women's team, obviously I go back to when I was a bit younger and they were always battling with Arsenal and doing quite well in that regard. Things tailed off for them. They were near the bottom of the league earlier this season. They've been kind of battling in the sort of mid to lower half of the Women's Super League. I went to a game against Chelsea this season at Goodison. They got beat, I think, 5-0. They really a poor game, and obviously Chelsea are very, very, very good. But yeah, it was tough to watch. But then I went to the Villa Park game, and they played obviously Aston Villa a little bit later, and things obviously turned around. Coach Sorensen just signed a new deal not too long ago, and things are obviously looking up for the women's team, which is great to see. And this is hopefully something else good that can help develop the team. Obviously, they play at Walton Hall Park now, and they said that Walton Hall Park will still be used for grassroots and community outreach and that sort of thing, but they believe that Everton women are now grown Walton Hall Park. So that's another kind of interesting thing to kind of consider in terms of the women's team moving up. And it's not just kind of a token thing, let's throw the new stadium to the women's team. It seems like a logical step forward. So they'll move in the start of the season, which will follow some enhancements that will be made to ensure adequate facilities are in place for the start of the season. So yeah, it's really interesting. I think for me, to be honest with you, I am absolutely all for this in terms of it means we can leave Goodison, and it's still going to be sad on Sunday, absolutely, and don't get me wrong, I'm not going to go to women's games every single week, if that's kind of, I'm sure there'll be plenty of people who do that, and I'd like to go a couple of times a season maybe, so I'm sure I will continue to do that. It'd be nice to go back to Goodison, but I think knowing it's still there's still going to be football, and hopefully there's going to be some success, and it's going to be very difficult for the women's team to maybe challenge to actually win the league when you got City and Chelsea, who are obviously absolute superpowers of the game, but in terms of cups or whatever they can do there can be some success, and maybe they can get to a point where they can, if money's put into the team at the very least, then maybe they can look to challenge at the top end of the league again, which would be great. Megan Finnegan, who's the captain of the women's team, she's come out and said Goodison is a magical stadium with a deep heritage and close ties to the local community. Leading the team out for that first home match of next season will be nothing short of a career highlight. So obviously it's brilliant. Angus Kinnear was the new CEO of Everton. He said, "We know how treasured Goodison is, not only to every Evertonian but to the game itself, and being able to keep such an iconic stadium at the heart of the legacy project, something that has been incredibly important to us. From next season, we are proud to say our women will have an unrivalled permanent home in the WSL, another statement of intent as we look to build the foundations that will help us challenge for trophies. The women's game has grown significantly in recent years, and we believe that growth will continue and accelerate. We're under no illusions. There are obstacles we need to overcome to make this a success both practically and economically, but we're confident that we will overcome those challenges. The value of investing in the women's game has been demonstrated by our ownership group at AS Roma with impressive results on the pitch. I believe Everton women can emulate that success and go even further, one of the most revered grounds in the history of the game as their permanent home." So again, I really don't think this is a case of, oh, well, what do we do with Goodison? We don't, really, we've said we want to get rid of it. We said this can be the farewell. We're selling the seats, we're selling obviously the books, and they've had the season card and the watch and loads of things. I've pumped a lot of money into myself and absolutely believed that Goodison would end, and the fact that it hasn't, okay, there's that little thing where you think, well, this has kind of been the farewell, and now it's not like a proper farewell, but I still feel like it is kind of the end for Goodison in terms of how we've known it. I've always known it as the men's team's football stadium. I've gone to watch the men's team there every week for years and years and years now. I've been going to the ground for 20 years, and people will be going there 2, 3, 4 times longer than I have. So they'll have always known it as the men's team's home, and I think the fact that it can stay there in some capacity, still be used, you can still go to it if you want. I think that'd be great, especially if things are going well in the new ground and we're all loving that, and you think, well, why don't we just go down to Goodison this week, international breaks, whatever it might be, or of course obviously just going to watch the game whenever, no matter what the men's team are doing. I think that'd be great, and I think that could also mean that more people will go to watch the women's game, which is again fantastic and another good step forward for them. So yeah, interesting news. As I say, when it was mooted probably about a month ago, I thought, well, I'm not too sure how that's going to work, but obviously I think maybe there won't be as many seats there and stuff like that, which will hopefully make it a better place for teams to play and obviously get more fans in, as I say. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, let me know your thoughts down below on the news. Are you happy with it? Are you maybe a little bit frustrated, or you think it's the right thing, the wrong thing to do? So it all comes down to opinion. There's no right or wrong answer, but I say for me, I'm really pleased, actually, to be fair, and I look forward to going to a couple more games than I normally do next season, probably. So yeah, let me know your thoughts down below. We'll see you next time. Next one.